What's going on, guys? This is another episode here of Nolan's Pod. Now, yesterday we talked about the NFL and the free agents. The free agent period started for the NFL. And guys were signing all over the place. Guys were getting traded all over the place. And it was a hectic Monday for sure for the NFL. Now, what a difference a year makes. This time last year, we were talking about how the running backs and how they were being undervalued and how they weren't getting jobs last year because these GMs and these owners and the organization felt like running backs was just nothing. They felt like they were not a part of the team, you might as well say. But like I said, that's why I say what a difference a year makes, because yesterday when the free agency period started, you had running backs signing all over the place. Some running backs got traded yesterday. A lot of running backs were just signing all over the place. I mean, my God, most of the moves that were made yesterday came from the running back signing yesterday. So it's just like, what a difference a year makes. Let's break it down. In a surprising twist, Saquon Barkley signs with the Philadelphia Eagles for 3 years, $37 million. Saquon was just with the New York Giants. Now he's going to the division rival Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon had been asking the Giants to pay him ever since he got drafted. Ever since he started playing with the Giants, he had been asking the Giants, just pay me my money, pay me what I deserve. They never did it. Instead, they paid Daniel Jones instead and tried to franchise tag Saquon Barkley. The only thing that saved him from Saquon Barkley last year was he was only on a 1-year deal with the Giants last year. And now he's on a whole nother different team. Y'all paid the wrong guy. Instead of paying the guy that y'all should have paid, y'all paid the wrong guy. Daniel Jones, when he's on the field, he's either bad or he's either hurt. And last year, he was mostly hurt. And when he is on the field, he's bad. So, Daniel Jones only had one good season. That was year before last. The Giants were a playoff team. They got into the playoffs, and Daniel Jones won one playoff game. Credit to Daniel Jones. Can't take that away from him. But the reason why Daniel Jones looked good when he has looked good is because of Saquon Barkley. So that's what I'm saying. That's just like Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill wasn't a great quarterback, wasn't really a good quarterback. When he got to Tennessee, he resurrected his career because Derrick Henry made him look good, because Derrick Henry knows how to run that ball, so that made Ryan Tannehill look good. We know what Ryan Tannehill did in the playoffs against the Cincinnati Bengals in 2021 when he threw 3 interceptions right out the gates. So that's what I'm saying. Derrick Henry made Ryan Tannehill look good. Same case here. Saquon Barkley made Daniel Jones look good. And when Saquon Barkley doesn't play and it's just Daniel Jones is completely horrible. So hats off to you, Saquon, for getting your money from a whole nother different team. And this Philadelphia Eagle team is a Super Bowl contender. The New York Giants are rebuilding. So that tells you everything you need to know. Tony Pollard, former running back for the Dallas Cowboys, signed with the Tennessee Titans. We know that the Titans are done with Derrick Henry, so it was a free pass for Tony Pollard to sign with the Titans. Austin Eckler, former Charger running back, signs with the Washington Commanders. We know that the Washington Commanders, are in a rebuild mode. So you have to start somewhere. You have to start from the bottom and work your way up to the top. Getting Austin Eckler at running back is the start of something. Now they just need to get a quarterback, which it looks like the Washington Commanders are probably going to draft a quarterback. Gus Edwards, former Baltimore Raven, signs with the Los Angeles Chargers. He replaces Austin Eckler's spot. So, hats off to Gus Edwards. Joe Mixon gets traded to the Houston Texans. Cincinnati trades Joe Mixon to the Texans. And it seems like last year Joe Mixon had some off-the-field issues, and it seemed like that the relationship between him and the Cincinnati Bengals were tarnished then, even though Joe Mixon ended up playing and he ended up being cleared of his off-the-field issues. So with this trade, it seems like it was tarnished last year, And with this trade, it just kind of confirms that it wasn't the same after his off the field issue. But Joe Mixon is getting a fresh start with the Houston Texans. So that's good for Joe Mixon. Kirk Cousins, former Washington Commander quarterback, former Minnesota Vikings quarterback, signs a 4-year, $180 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons. $100 million is guaranteed to Kirk Cousins. I have not been a fan of Kirk Cousins. I've said for years that I don't trust Kirk Cousins when it comes down to it. So I was not happy when the Falcons made this move. I was not happy simply because he's 35 years old. He's coming off a torn Achilles. And he's 35 years old. He's not going to play for that much more longer. I wish we could have got Justin Fields. Kirk Cousins is hit or miss. He's either going to be really good or he's going to either be really bad. He's going to throw a touchdown or he's going to get intercepted. Last year, Kirk Cousins had 18 touchdowns thrown before he got hurt. The Falcons as a team only had 18 touchdowns the whole entire year. And Kirk Cousins was hurt for most of the half the season. So that tells you everything you need to know. Kirk Cousins is a good game manager. He can manage the game. And the Falcons were just missing a quarterback. We needed a quarterback. No, I didn't want Kirk Cousins. But it's a better upgrade from Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. No question about it. Kirk Cousins is a top 15 quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's a good quarterback. I just don't trust him when it comes down to it. He only has one playoff win in his career. He's 1-3 in the playoffs, is Kirk Cousins. Ryan Tannehill and Blake Bortles have 2 playoff wins, and they are not good quarterbacks. And Kirk Cousins only has 1 to show for it. But he is an upgrade, and we did need a quarterback, and he can get us to the playoffs. We can win the NFC South with Kirk Cousins. I'm just not a fan of him. But his wife's parents were from Atlanta, and his wife herself is from Atlanta. So they know about the city, and Kirk Cousins was here during the offseason spending time here. So him and his family, they're caught up with how things run in the city, and they're caught up with how we do things in the community. So it was only the right move for Kirk Cousins to sign here. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings did not want to give him the money that the Atlanta Falcons gave him. Rightfully so. I understand why they didn't want to give him that money that the Falcons gave him. So Minnesota's obviously going to be looking for a quarterback, even though they just signed Sam Darnold yesterday, being that they just moved on from Kirk Cousins. And I'm just, you know what? We're just going to have to suck this up. We're going to have to suck it up, and we're going to have to quit crying, because whether we like it or not, Kirk Cousins in Atlanta is happening whether we like it or not. So with that being said, we wish Kirk Cousins all the best. But I will tell you this, Kirk Cousins, we're not a city that boos our sports team. We're not a city that does that. But if you are not playing up to par, if you are not playing up to expectation, we are not afraid to let you know and let you hear about it. So, just be prepared for that, Kirk Cousins. Transitioning into women's college basketball. As we know, women's college basketball has taken a huge step forward. It's taken a huge leap over men's college basketball, especially this season. Caitlin Clark, the Juju Watkins, the Angel Reeses, the Haley Van Lith of the world, they've taken major steps into making women's college basketball what it is this year. One thing I want to talk about with this women's college basketball, the other day we had LSU and South Carolina going up against each other. That was for bragging rights for the division. See who wins the division. That was only bragging rights. That was just only the game before March Madness comes. So, LSU came into this game 28-4. We know they just won a national championship last year with their head coach Kim Mulkey. Rightfully so. They deserved it because they were a good team. Dawn Staley's team, South Carolina, went undefeated, 31-0. They were 31-0 last year, and they were 31-0 this year. So hats off to Dawn Staley and how she is running her program. I mean, my God. You can't be more successful than that. And it is hard to go undefeated, period. But to do it back-to-back seasons, that is incredible. Incredible. So, hats off to Dawn Staley for everything she's doing. But the only takeaway from this game is it was a little skirmish that happened that kind of took away from what this game really was. Flau'jae Johnson intentionally fouled Malaysia Fulwiley. So Flau'jae intentionally fouled Malaysia Fulwiley. When you intentionally foul somebody, you're trying to foul somebody, you're trying to hack somebody, trying to grab them, do whatever you can to foul them to stop the clock. You're trying to stop the clock. That's what an intentional foul means. Well, Malaysia Fulwiley's teammates on South Carolina did not like the way Flau'jae Johnson fouled Malaysia. So it was words exchanged between Flau'jae Johnson and Ashlyn Watkins and Bree Hall. Words exchanged between those three ladies. Next thing you know, it escalates. Flau'jae Johnson shoves Ashlyn Watkins, and then Camila Cardoso sees that her teammate gets shoved, so Camila Cardoso inserts herself in it, and she comes up and she shoves Flau'jae Johnson. So Flau'jae Johnson gets shoved by Camila Cardoso, and Flau'jae Johnson's brother sees that, and he jumps out the stands over the scores table like this is a Rush Hour movie. Flau'jae Johnson's brother, I understand you've seen your sister kind of get pushed, kind of get harmed, if you even want to call it getting harmed. I understand you've seen your sister getting harmed or attacked or whatever you want to call it. But you do not jump out the stands like this is some kind of Rush Hour movie. Like you're going to do something. What did you plan on doing? Hitting one of these girls? What did you really plan on doing? Obviously, it wasn't nothing that he could have done anyways, because the police or security escorted him right on out, and it was peaceful. They escorted him right on out, because you can't come down from the stands trying to attempt to do stuff. That only escalates things further. So, they were able to break everything up. LSU's players and South Carolina's bench players, both teams' bench players came off the bench. So you automatically know once you come off the bench, you are automatically ejected from the game. And more than likely, you're going to face a suspension from the league. I'm not sure if it works that way in college basketball, but you do get ejected. I don't know if you get suspended for the next game, but you do get ejected. So both benches were tossed out the game. Okay, rightfully so. They came off the bench. After this game happened and after 2 days passed or whatever, Flau'jae Johnson, this is what Dawn Staley said. Flau'jae Johnson came up to Dawn Staley, and Dawn Staley said that Flau'jae apologized for her actions and how she carried on and how she went on about things. She said that's not the type of player she is, and that's not what she is all about. So she apologized. So that is good for Flau'jae to apologize to head coach Dawn Staley of the opposing team. Now, Camila Cardoso, she also apologized for her actions and what she did. She also said the same thing. That's not what she stands for. It won't happen again. And it's bigger than what she did out there. So hats off to Camila Cardoso for apologizing, because she escalated the fight by pushing Flau'jae Johnson. So hats off to both of those ladies for apologizing. South Carolina's head coach Dawn Staley also apologized, because she was like, her program is not about fighting. This is not what they stand for. This is not what they usually do. It was a big time game. Emotions were running high, and these girls, they kind of got after it. That's what Dawn Staley said. And she's like, this is not what my program is all about. She was very clear with what she said. Hats off to Dawn Staley, because she always knows what to say in the exact moment. And when you're up there in front of the media, it's not easy to say the right thing all the time in the exact moment. But hats off to Dawn Staley, because she always steps up to the plate. And whatever she says, you're going to listen, and it's going to be the right thing that's going to come out of her mouth. all the time. No question about it. On the flip side of that, one thing that I was not happy about is what LSU head coach Kim Mulkey had to say. Kim Mulkey said, Camila Cardoso, you don't push a kid like that, especially Flajay Johnson's size. Flajay's like 5'9", Camila Cardoso's like 6'8", 6'9". Kim Mulkey said, you don't push a kid like that. You let those two girls who were battling, you let those two fight. You don't jump in, and that's what Kim Mulkey was saying. She said if she would have pushed somebody her own size like Angel Reese, who's 6'8", that's who she would like to see Camila Cardoso push. Kim Mulkey, you were wrong in escalating because you just escalated it. You see what I'm saying? You escalated it. I wish she would have pushed somebody her own size like Angel Reese, who's 6'8". You just escalated it. So when these teams meet down the line, possibly, maybe in a few weeks, possibly, when they meet again, they're going to remember what Kim Mulkey said about Camila Cardoso need to push somebody her own size. You don't encourage that, Kim Mulkey. You don't encourage that. She said that it was ugly and that she wishes that they wouldn't, have that skirmish. But you wish they don't have that skirmish, but you're also encouraging it by saying, oh, you wish she would have pushed Angel Reese, somebody that's who her own size, because Angel Reese is 6'8". You don't encourage that. You don't do that. As a head coach, as a leader of your team, you don't do that. That's why I said it's not easy to say things in front of the media. That's right. That's why I tip my hat to Dawn Staley, because everything she says in front of the media is exactly spot on right. And what Kim Mulkey said to the media about this whole ordeal, that was not right. And she actually needs to walk back her comments a little bit. Well, not a little bit. She needs to walk back her comments a lot. You don't encourage a fight. You don't encourage that. Point blank, period. You don't encourage that. Because that's going, if y'all meet down the line, that's going to lead to something else. And you don't want it to get to that point. So, Kim Mulkey, you were wrong on what you said about that. You need to address it again and say it the right way, because that was not how you were supposed to go about that. But it's a lesson learned from all of us. That's not what the women's college game is all about, fighting and all that. It kind of just took away from this game and how great of a game it was, period, because it was a great game throughout. First through fourth quarter, it was a close game. So, but it's a lesson learned for everybody. So that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think about Kirk Cousins signing with Atlanta. And let me know what you guys think about LSU and South Carolina's skirmish.